All right, guys, the other day when I was running the PM9, I said I'd bring you some more footage for the PM9. So here's a full game with it where I actually beast it up pretty good. I was going for the specialist as well here, but trying to hide from that Predator missile. But I wanted to talk about the state of the Modern Warfare 3 Union. You know how the president every year has a State of the Union address? Well, we're evaluating the state of the Modern Warfare 3 Union. So I pulled some data, and I'm just going to give some of my thoughts as well on the game. You know, the campaign and the Spec Ops, like not Spec Ops Survival or Chaos, but just the Spec Ops missions, I mean, they're good. I mean, the campaign I enjoyed. And it's, you know, it's like one of those regular FPS campaigns. I mean, you play it once, maybe play it twice to get the hardest difficulty on veteran, get those achievements, and you're pretty much done with it. Like I have no interest in going back to the campaign. And then it's the same with the Spec Ops missions. I mean, you want to run the Spec Ops missions, maybe get your trophies and achievements, maybe do some speed runs, but after a couple weeks with those original Spec Ops missions, it's we're pretty much done. And I know Infinity Ward has released in the content collections and the Elite DLC, they've released a bunch of Spec Ops missions as well, but it's the same thing there, and none are really worth doing any speed runs for, really, in my opinion. So, you know, I played them. I haven't even played the latest ones. I just had no interest because I was tied up in Chaos mode for a few days. But you know, it's a good addition to the game. It's good, but again, it's something that's very time limited. And I would say the same thing goes for Survival and Chaos. I mean, Survival, and I played the crap out of it for the first week or two, but then that was it. It was like, no more. I didn't play it anymore. I haven't played it since. I think I played it once on the first DLC that came out for Xbox. I played Survival on the one map, and that was about it. Chaos mode was sort of the same thing, but it even died out in less time than Survival. I mean, it was kind of a Survival offshoot, and it was very, very intense. I played the crap out of it for like 3 days, and basically came up with a way to get 100 million plus on any map you want, and I don't think it would spur on more interest, even if more maps were opened up. It's just done after a few days. So I mean, the real thing is when you get into the multiplayer, and I pulled off some stats on what people were playing. So I looked at first of all, I wanted to look at the face-off maps because Infinity Ward put a lot of backing into these face-off maps. I mean, the face-off maps take up probably about 25% of all the maps that released for DLC for Modern Warfare 3. Damn, there was like 3 guys up there. What the hell? So we've got about and this was pulled off of PS3, but the Xbox numbers aren't that much different. So about 6.7% of players online, when I was taking this data, were playing Face-Off. When Face-Off, and I talked about this before in previous videos, when Face-Off maps constituted for 25% of the maps of the DLC maps anyway. So we're still looking at less than 7% of players playing Face-Off. The community playlists are actually, and I think Infected is probably the one that's played the most. We've got a 12.8% of the entire online community are playing in the community playlists, and that includes Infected, Drop Zone, and the gun games, I believe. Looking at the regular standard playlists, obviously TDM is always on top. It's around 25.7%. Domination, 11.8%, and Search and Destroy, 9.4%. And Domination and Search and Destroy were always in and around that same area. Sometimes you'd see Search, depending on when you looked at it, what time of day, etc., you'd see Search up above Domination sometimes. If I look, actually, one of the interesting things, I went and compared with Black Ops. Now, Modern Warfare 3 still has, I think we were talking like, at the time I was looking anyway, 281,000 people in the playlist. There were well over 500,000 people online on the PS3. But it was interesting because on Xbox, and around the same time, there were far less players in the playlists than there were on PS3 for some reason, when usually it's much higher. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so the interesting thing, I went and looked at Black Ops on PS3 and noticed some differences. That in Team Deathmatch, there were about 35% of the players were playing Team Deathmatch. It was about the same for domination in around 11%, but search and destroy in Black Ops was at over 19%, which I found kind of interesting. So search in Black Ops, I might go and go back and play some games in Black Ops, but. So I did a poll, and I don't see a lot of these issues when I'm just playing Search and Destroy. I did a poll on Twitter just asking, if you don't play Modern Warfare 3 anymore, why don't you play? What are your top 2 reasons for why you don't play? Or even if you do play multiplayer, what are the 2 things that you hate the most? And 2 of the things that came up were the spawns and lag compensation. Spawns in Search and Destroy, I don't really have to deal with. I mean, I'm never going to have somebody spawning in behind me, right? But when I was playing gun games the other night, I did notice there are obvious issues. Obvious issues with the spawning. I mean, I spawned right behind somebody. He'd spawn right in front of me, and I just kill him. It's like, what the hell? And I think it's more prevalent in free-for-alls, which again I don't play a whole lot of, so it doesn't really impact me in Search. The lag compensation, again, you don't notice it as much. Search, you're playing, it's 6v6, guys don't respawn. It's very tactical. There's not a huge amount of action. You're not getting 20 kills in a row in the span of a minute with whatever. But again, in some of the gun games that I was playing, like the All or Nothing, I played a fair bit of, and just the knifing in that, I did notice, and it's very inconsistent from game to game or match to match. And I know this game is ending here, but I'm gonna carry on a little bit. 12-2, not too bad with the PM9, and this was pre-buff. This was pre-buff PM9, so not a bad game. So yeah, I mean, definitely there are issues with the lag compensation. There are issues with the spawns, and we saw a lot of the issues with the spawns especially on the face-off maps, the smaller maps. Even though it was 3v3 or 2v2, the spawns were, I mean, Hyper and I were playing 2v2, and the spawns were like, on some of the maps, were just ridiculous. Supposedly they patched some of that, and they changed the spawn logic just for face-off, but I still think it's an issue. And I don't think, honestly, at this point in time, Modern Warfare 3 is done. They're not doing, from what I know, I doubt they're going to be doing much more with lag compensation or the spawn system. I mean, one other thing that I will note, and I will get back to the multiplayer gameplay as well, is just the community involvement has died. And when I'm talking about the community involvement from Infinity Ward representatives, and I mentioned this as well before, Mark Rubin, for a couple months, he's just on Twitter constantly, and there was a lot of communication, there was a lot of feedback being had, and it's gone from, since Modern Warfare 3 released, Robert Bowling, okay, yeah, he was around for a while. He didn't really do a whole lot, I don't think. Not near as much as Mark Rubin did. So obviously he left, and it completely died. They got Tina on board as a community manager, and no offense, Tina, but as community manager and involvement with the community, you're not even 5% on par with what Mark Rubin was doing or Robert Bowling. So I don't know what's going on there, really. I don't really know what she's doing, but she's certainly not, keeping up community involvement the community involvement that I would expect from a game like this and from Infinity Ward. And Mark Rubin, like I said, he came on for a couple months. It was like the taps are off, then all of a sudden the taps are on. We're flooding, and then all of a sudden the taps are off again, which is really, really disappointing. I mean, you'd rather have the taps being full off or partially on and inconsistent. It's the consistency that is gone, and we have no communication at all. So the communication from Infinity Ward and Modern Warfare 3 is basically freaking dead, in my opinion, anyway. So yeah, going back to the gameplay, I don't know. I mean, my opinion, and a lot of people, I play Search and Destroy. A lot of people have been complaining about SitRep Pro. I mean, I've been doing, again, some conversations on Twitter. Well, is it really SitRep Pro the buff? Was that the issue, or is the issue that more and more people have headsets, so it's sort of forcing people to run dead silence? I don't know what the core issue is, and maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. Is what is the core issue here? Yes, people are sound whoring more and more, but Does that add to the realism? Well, of course, if people are running around, I mean, you should be able to hear them. I mean, they're not going to be silent, unless they're running that perk like Ninja or Dead Silence and something, that counteracts it. I don't know. I don't want to get into that whole discussion, but for me, I've been playing a lot of Search recently. I know a lot of guys on YouTube have gone away from Modern Warfare 3, and I think some of the reasons have been that it's more difficult to get good games. It is more difficult, and people have said that. I mean, Modern Warfare 2, you had guys on YouTube that would go and get, and I'm not defending lag compensation in Modern Warfare 3, but would go and get the highest speed internet possible just so they can get host advantage, just so they can get those epic games. And you've seen some of these guys, and I don't know if they've admitted it or not, but they don't play Modern Warfare 3 because they can't get that. They can't get that host advantage to get those epic games. It's harder. And now with the SitRep Pro buff, I think people complain because it's harder to get good games. Well, I don't know. I'm no stranger to hard work. It doesn't really bother me. And if I gotta change my game up, yeah, if I'm rushing like an idiot into the enemy spawn, and I do it all the time. And I'm not saying I'm an idiot, but you know what I mean. I mean, you're rushing, you're not paying attention, you're not checking all your corners. Of course, you're rushing in, and you're getting killed by people that are spawn camping. Maybe it's time to change up the game. Maybe that's not is that really the way to play Search? Maybe really the way to play Search when you're on defense. Is there really any reason to rush into the enemy spawn? No, other than to try and flank them or try and get epic gameplay. I mean, go and take control of the bomb locations and defend them. And same with offense. I don't need to run into the enemy spawn. I can go and take control of the bomb site. It just changes the game a little bit. Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that. So, but I'm still playing, and there are still a lot of people playing. I mean, again, there was over 500,000 on in the morning. It was like a morning weekday, and there are a lot of people playing, and I'm still playing. And when I got tired of playing Search and things weren't going the way I liked, and I went over and got some good gun games going, and I got a nice one actually, one in the chamber where I went 13-1, beast. I actually died after my first kill, and I got 12 in a row after that, one in the chamber. So I'll be posting up that soon as well. So that's it. I just wanted to kind of review the state of the Modern Warfare 3 Union and maybe get some of your thoughts. I mean, a lot of people are still playing, but a lot of people I know have said, I can't stand playing that game, and maybe I don't know. There are always things that people are going to have issue with overpowered guns, and I mean, lag compensation was never perfect in any Call of Duty. Although maybe in the past it was at least more consistent. Even if somebody did have host advantage, at least there was a consistency there, which seems to be not there with Modern Warfare 3. Spawns, well, I don't know, not much you can do about the spawns, and hopefully they can at least not be as bad for Black Ops 2. Let's sit here crossing our fingers and holding our breath for that. So that's about it, and I think I might have thrown in a second game there with the PM9. I'm not sure yet. I only had that first game. I probably will if it fits. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be back. We'll be talking more Black Ops 2 a little later. All right, thanks, guys. I'm Spider, and I'm out.